Thanks for staying tuned. Still watching Niger Delta today. Well, this discussion takes us to Rivers State, where Fubara's move to unlock blue economy potentials is set to go beyond a single project. It's believed to be about how a region surrounded by water can finally begin to build wealth from it. Now, the new 13.5-kilometer Ngo Atlantic Oyorokoto Road, now under construction, isn't just a road, but according to the governor, it's an entry point into a larger dream of marine trade, coastal tourism, and community prosperity. For Rivers State, it's a practical attempt to turn geography into economy and to turn the coastline into a corridor of opportunity. But how realistic is this vision? Talking about structures, investments, and partnerships, what are those layers that must follow to ensure the blue economy does not just become another slogan? We're joined by a public affairs analyst, Olalekan Ige, who will help us examine the policy depth, the regional impact, and, of course, the long-term promise of this blue economy agenda. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Ige. Well, if you can hear me, I mean, the announcement by Governor Siminalayi Fubara regarding his improvements and investment in the blue economy in Rivers State is one conversation in the Niger Delta region that analysts and public affairs commentators have continually spoken about. I mean, when you talk about the region, the Niger Delta region, and its vast water bodies, it is only pertinent that this sector be tapped into. What do you make of this renewed commitment by Governor Sim?
Is an area I know too well. I think if you check that corridor, it has one of the best beaches in Nigeria. And I'm not trying to undermine others, but I've traveled them extensively. I can humbly say that. I've seen beaches in Akwa Ibom. I've seen beaches in Lagos. I've seen beaches in some parts of Nigeria. But I think the one in that corridor that the governor has talked about is one of the best in Nigeria. It's natural. It's not dirty. You can hardly find anything.
Okay, I mean, I don't know if it's the network, but we cannot connect with you smoothly. I'm hoping we're able to rectify that. But if you can hear me, man, I'd like you to bring us up to speed with what you feel this corridor that the governor is speaking about, what potentials it has for the people of Rivers State, and talking about the blue economy and what he says he hopes to achieve with that sector. Do you think that this revelation is coming at the right time, and the efforts of government towards boosting that sector is going to really achieve the aims that it hopes at achieving?
Well, I think the best time to start was yesterday. But the better time to start is even today. To me, it can be kicked off immediately. I do talk about the tourism potential in that axis. And then also tell you that the Anton local government area corridor of River State, there are seasons where you get to see elephants, in that corridor. So it's one vast tourism potential of the state. Of course, it cannot coming from all over the world, to see the pristine nature of the beach that you have there. The Olalekan is known as the largest fishing settlement in West Africa. So you can begin to imagine the kind of businesses that can take place, around the area. You can bring fishing trawlers, to be able to go out on fishing expeditions. You can bring out boat and ferry services to be able to take people from one point to the other. And that corridor is also not too far, from Akwa Ibom State. That's the Obolo speaking part of River State. And they have their kids and kids on the other side of the water, which is the Obolo nation in Akwa Ibom State. So you are looking at connectivity between two states. You are looking at tourism potentials. That also comes with having hospitality business. You are talking about hotels. You are talking about fast food. You are talking about associated businesses in terms of maybe oil and gas. It means that you have to get petrol stations to be in that area, a whole lot of opportunities, that can come. So for me, the better time to start is now, and it's good that the governor is doing this. The road will take you straight, to that beach, to that corridor, to that largest fishing, settlement in West Africa. You can open new vistas of investment of opportunities for people.
All right, Mr. Ige, when we talk about blue economy, we're not just talking about tourism, we're talking about fisheries, marine transport, real estate, if you may, coastal logistics. Now, when you look at Rivers State, which do you think it is best positioned for? Looking at its abilities, talking about economically and its muscle to generate wealth for its people, which would you say is the most of its strength based on?
We are trying to talk in terms of a comparative advantage. And I'll say that for all of what you have mentioned tourism, you have mentioned fishery, you have mentioned real estate. I'm saying all of them, can come together in one mix. Because if you are going to be talking about blue economy, one of the things you need is infrastructure. The government is already building the road infrastructure, which is very critical. The next one is also ensure that you have electricity around that area. That is also going on, at the moment. So you can put all of them in the mix: logistics, fishing, tourism, real estate, oil and gas, name it. You can put all of them in one mix. The state has enormous comparative advantage when it comes to that. And I did say earlier, the beach in that corridor is just natural. It's just by the Atlantic Ocean. And of course, they also can add zoo into it, because you have seasons where you have elephants coming out. You have seasons where you have other, wild animals coming out, around that area. So it's a whole mix. It's a whole lot you can put into a mix and function almost simultaneously.
All right, Mr. Ige. Well, as much as infrastructure is important, also key, so is community preparedness. When you look at how the Rivers state is set up, how prepared would you say the communities, the host communities that would be benefiting from this move, how prepared are they?
Reason, that's also why you have the River State Ministry of Employment and Economic Empowerment. These are all of the things that can come into that mix. Why you are trying to develop infrastructure, why you are trying to get investors, why you are trying to get visitors, to come in, then it means that these two ministries, culture and tourism, employment and economic empowerment, will also be coming into that mix. And they need to get the people, become aware, one, of what they have, two, of what is to come. And now you can begin to even train people that can serve as guides. For some of us who've been privileged to travel out of this country, we visited, tourist attractions, and you always have guides, locals, who take you around, who are able to tell you the history, of the place. People can give you the kind of backgrounds only locals, can give it. So we need to train the locals on how to receive visitors, how to serve as, tourist guides, how to take them to places that only them can know. These are all of the things, you can put into a total package so that the people also benefit from the wealth that is coming right, from their backyard.
All right. Well, one concern that is often raised about development of coastal areas like Rivers State now is the concern about the environmental hazards that might come with it. Talking about erosion now, what safeguards do you think that Rivers State can put together towards ensuring that it avoids these hazards that may come as a result of this interest in boosting the blue economy sector?
Well, interestingly, that axis doesn't have much of erosion problem. I think what you rather be talking about, because some of the communities around that area are probably below, the sea level. So sometimes they witness some kind of flooding. But I think in the last 2-3 years or so, they've not had problem of flooding, around that area. Erosion, I don't think they suffer from erosion. I think we should rather even be talking about security. How do we ensure that, look, the area is secured enough to ensure that we get local and international visitors, to come that area. The local government sits beside the local government of the governor, of the state at the moment. They share common boundary. So we need to be able to ensure that we have sufficient security, deep, that corridor, starting from Port Harcourt, where you have the international airport, from Port Harcourt down to the Ogoni axis, from the Ogoni axis down to Opobonkoro local government, from Opobonkoro then to Andoni. So all of that stretch, all of that long walk or long drive, should have sufficient security so that whoever that is coming is assured of security, and they're also sure that their investment will be safe. So that's one of the areas that the governor or the government of Rivers State can concentrate more efforts on to ensure that there's improved security, and security too for those who are bringing their investments, into the state.
Well, another area that Governor Fubara echoed is the area of the Niger Delta region suffering from underutilized assets. Now, when you look at how the Niger Delta region is structured, you talk about developments and aims at government towards boosting certain sectors. But at the end of the day, these sectors are either neglected or not taken as seriously as they should be taken. When a lot of conversations and work have gone into establishing those sectors, how serious is this issue? And what do you think should be taken into consideration moving forward as we boost these sectors and hope to develop other sectors of the economy?
Yeah, I think first and foremost is to have a roadmap. Without a roadmap, then you may not know where you are going. If you have a roadmap, then we need to put milestones, into those roadmaps. We need to put institutions, that can help. One of the major problems we've had in Niger Delta, and even by extension across Nigeria, is the problem of continuity. An administration starts a project, then whoever that succeeds is apparently not even interested in what his predecessor has done or is doing. He abandons it and begins to start it. So when he leaves, whoever that succeeds him also abandons whatever he has done. Then the new person wants to put on some kind of legacies of his own. We need to have continuity. I think that's one of the things that been lacking in Niger Delta. And even across Nigeria, continuity. So when an administration puts a project on that, there should be a roadmap that should be measured, that should be ways you want to measure the project. In the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, what are we going to be doing? How do we ensure sustainability? How do we ensure our lives up? How do we put structures of farm? How do we ensure we have the right people in the right position? That will ensure continuity. That will ensure that we're able to obtain the dividends we want out of those projects, one to the people, and of course to earn money from the government, respective government, in terms of internally generated revenue. That's what I've been missing. Consistency, clear roadmap, and what milestones are being met to ensure that we arrive at the destination that we are going to be. Those are key factors that we're missing. So we need to fix them. We need to tighten those loose ends so that we can measure progress, we can measure development, and we can measure how far we have been able to go when the Zoom came to be.
The governor also cited March next year as a target for commissioning of the 13.5 kilometer Ngo Atlantic Oyorokoto Road, which is directly within the axis where this blue economy sector he hopes at improving is situated. How important and significant is this road to achieving this course by Governor Fubara?
No, I think looking at the March next year for the road to be completed, I think that is possible given the extent of what the contractor has done from the television, given the extent of which is cash back in terms of ensuring that the contractor gets money as often as it needs the money to them to complete it. Once that is done, it automatically begins to attract people to travel there because of the nature of that area. It's really difficult to construct. So once the road is ready, there's already a road from the road axis getting to a there's a road already from the people getting to Andoni. So this one the government is able to do that we can easily drive straight, along that terminal area. You can drive straight to this place. So you can see that visitors now begin to trickle in. They are no longer afraid that your car will get stuck, if you are traveling to that area. It means that people cannot begin to develop short net apartments, maybe restrooms, maybe restaurants, and all of that. All of this cannot begin to spring up. Even the value of land in that area will not increase that with government getting access to that with electricity. Getting to that adds benefits that there will not improve commerce, there will improve economic activity in that area.
Well, Amen, as we begin to wind down the conversation, the issues within the Niger Delta region and how different governments of the region have approached the development of the blue economy sector, I'd like you to give an appraisal. Is the pace comfortable? Is it slow? Or would we have achieved more in the Niger Delta region, let's say, if there was more commitment on part of governments of the region towards tapping into the blue economy sector? Are we having this conversation a little bit late? Or do you hope to see more synergy and more commitment from governments of the region regarding the discussion around the blue economy and efforts that must go into it to be able to tap into the gains that it has to offer to the region?
Yeah, I would say I'm rather disappointed. The respective government of the Niger Delta have not been able to do much. If there's one area the respective government can invest in, it's in agriculture. I've been privileged to travel to Egypt, and I've seen the fish farm. The fish farm in Egypt. Egypt has the largest farmed fishing in the world, and all of the money coming to Niger Delta can be used in any of the Niger Delta. The largest farmed fishing is in Egypt, and Egypt doesn't have as much water as well. Niger Delta, a lot of the states in Niger Delta can grow that. They have not even looked at that possibility. A lot of the states in Niger Delta can even to sugarcane production. Yeah, a whole lot. Agriculture, the Niger Delta is known for oil and gas. Funny enough, the Niger Delta also be known to gold. Niger Delta can take it as the policy to say, look, we want to be the largest grower of cassava in the world. It is achievable. They want to be the largest grower of maize in the world. It's achievable. And of byproduct, you get out of cassava. From cassava, you can get starch. From cassava, you can get the normal garri. From cassava, you can get a whole lot of things. From sugarcane, you already know the byproduct of sugarcane. You already know the byproduct of milk. So I think about 90% of food made for children from tender age, probably from 6 months to about 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. A sizable number of the constituents of those foods are cereals. And one of the major components of cereal is milk. And all of that can be grown in Niger Delta in large quantities. So if we can shift focus and we can shift our focus on over dependence on buyers of oil, can we now develop more effort without teaching? Fishing is one area that the Niger Delta can do absolutely well. I think they've not invested enough of time and resources, into this area. If there's one thing I feel or I wish that some of the governments in Niger Delta can travel all up. They will earn a lot from the Netherlands. The Netherlands is just below the level, but they've been able to make something out of that. Difficult, very difficult, and challenging environment. I wish that the kind of Netherlands and see the way the judge has been able to make life out of water.
Well, I'll take a parting shot now. If we were to cast a 5-year vision for the Niger Delta region, talking about developments that is hoped to be seen within the blue economy sector, what do you think we can achieve in 5 years if all the governments in the region were to have the same mindset, the same synergy towards developing this sector? What kind of development would we see?
Readily in agriculture. Readily in agriculture. And when I'm talking about agriculture, I'm talking about fishing. When I'm talking about agriculture, I'm talking about rice farming. It doesn't even take you 5 years to grow rice. It doesn't. It doesn't take you 5 years to have a farm fishing where you can create farms for fishing across the entire Niger Delta. But it can be done in less than 5 years. So I would rather say 5 years is even too much. If you are serious minded, this approach you can achieve within the next 2-3 years. The next farming season, you can grow that. How long does it take, for rice to go? To catch that in the Niger Delta to be able to grow that. So how long will it take? 6, 7, 8, 9 months. Rice is ready. So 5 years is even too much. There are specific, there are no agencies that can even buy their people to invest money, get the people, to come on board, and they can begin to see the dividend, of what is going to happen. New economy is what they can tap in if they need it desperately. And that's why I suggested that we did visit the Netherlands. For some of them, they have been privileged to travel to Amsterdam. We need to see the way and manner the Dutch have been able to make life out of water. And they've learned everything already. So it's just for us to get a plug and play. And we bring some of their best experts to look at how do we develop what we have and begin to earn money from the economy. The Dutch are really earning money from the economy.
All right, Mr. Olalekan Ige, Public Affairs Analyst, thank you very much for speaking to us on Niger Delta today. We appreciate your views and company on the program.
Thanks for having me.